expect you to leave happy. If you want the best hookah experience, you come to Lux, located at 37939 Vine Street, Willowby. We invite you to come experience the flavor and see what you've been missing. We hope to see you soon.
It's a local music spotlight on Lake Effect Radio. Mr. Fabulous and the Bad Boys with Doc Rock.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition, Thursday edition of Beyond Question. In for Tom Butler today is Jeremiah Mrazek.
Yeah.
And Nick
Saveljo.
I can never say your name right.
Nobody
Well,
can.
I can pretend to be Tom, too. Tom
Well,
Brady
you're not
is softer than...
You're not bald enough, Jeremiah. You're
Tom
not
Brady
bald
is
enough
softer
to
than
be
Cristiano.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
I hate Ronaldo.
Well, I was
Anyway,
just going to leave it there on just the first name. I like how he finishes it.
So today we've got a lot going for
That was
you.
a Tom thing
a
to
lot
do.
coming onto the show today, starting with Todd Haley, the new offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns, hired earlier this week to the offensive coordinator position. Guys, what do you think when looking at this team now and the direction they're going? It's said that Todd Haley's going to call the plays, something that Hugh Jackson's done for the last 2 seasons. Do you see this being that turn that the Browns needed to take to be relevant again in the NFL?
They had to.
Well, they had to do it, but do you think that this is what they needed to do to move forward, to take that extra step?
I think it's
Yeah.
a step in the right direction. I think a lot of it will depend on the players who are able to get this offseason, but
Yeah.
let's face it, Hugh did not call very good games.
No,
No.
He did not.
But the other thing, his first year, he got really slim pickings there.
Yes, he did. The whole Sashi and his group did not do Hugh any favors with decisions to let go of the experienced players that they let.
Then not including all the injuries, offensive line, all that.
True.
I mean, his first year, that was like a train wreck by week 8,
Yeah.
if not maybe sooner than that.
See, I personally believe now that this shapes the offseason in a whole nother direction than we were going to go about it before. I think it's either one of two things are going to happen. It's either you go out and you get an Alex Smith, a proven veteran quarterback, you get a Kirk Cousins. Remember, Kirk Cousins is 29, 30 years old. So he doesn't have, if you're going by Tom,
number one guy to bring in.
if you're talking about Tom Brady standards, he has another 12 years in the league. But we're not talking about Tom Brady standards. This is Kirk Cousins here.
Right.
Alex Smith, we could get in a trade on draft day, which would be huge considering the John Dorsey connection in Kansas City. But with Todd Haley calling plays...
Can I add one thing in?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how true this is, but I did hear that with the Haley, bringing Haley in, that his offense is a good fit for someone like Alex Smith.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with the Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith. I also think that this is going to shape our draft. Todd Haley is like a Bill Belichick in the way that Bill Belichick wants players on his team that he knows he can coach. And that's what I think Todd Haley brings to the organization. He's going to tell John Dorsey, he's going to tell these guys, listen, I can coach Josh Allen. Draft him. I can coach Saquon Barkley. I can coach Calvin Ridley. I can coach these guys, bring them on the team, draft them, make sure you get them, because those are the guys that will be comfortable under my supervision, under my play calls. They fit my scheme personally and will be successful, trust me. That's what I think Todd Haley's going to bring to the Browns. And he doesn't have that Ben Roethlisberger problem, meaning that Roethlisberger, apparently, there were reports that Roethlisberger and him didn't see eye to eye all the time, that there were problems in the play calling. Roethlisberger wanted to pass the ball. He wanted to run it via Le'Veon Bell. There was just all of this hysteria between Roethlisberger and Haley that was reported. And that's what I believe is now going to be the main difference in a Cleveland Browns uniform, and in the organization, is that Haley doesn't have the dominant quarterback, if you will, the godlike quarterback that tells his coach, "I want to pass the ball," and then he does. It's no, the coach tells you what to do.
Now, correct me if I'm mistaken. Wasn't before Haley, like, a lot of fans complained that, like, Pittsburgh was actually throwing the ball too much, and they kind of got away from that traditional Steelers football? And then Haley wanted to bring
yes and no. I think it was a mixture of both. Okay. I think it was a mixture of Haley at just the wrong times. If you're looking at it from Roethlisberger's point of view, it was Roethlisberger wanted to pass the ball more, but in some situations he wanted to run the ball, and Haley was either asking too little or too much out of him.
Gotcha.
It wasn't in the middle.
Okay.
And that's where I believe that, again, Deshaun Kaiser, if he's still with the team, he doesn't have that problem. Haley can coach Kaiser. I don't think Kaiser's coachable at all, but I just don't think that Kaiser.
I hope to God he doesn't touch the field this year.
I hope so too. I hope he's either a second or third string. Third string I'd love, because I'd rather have Kevin Hogan than Deshaun Kaiser. But that's my personal opinion.
There's a couple things you got to look at about Haley's time in Pittsburgh, which, if Kaiser does touch the field, that this will be a plus for Kaiser. Under Haley, Roethlisberger was not only sacked less, but he helped Roethlisberger get the ball out quicker, which is something that Kaiser really struggled with this season.
But I believe that we're going to. I don't know for sure. If I had to predict what the Browns are going to do, I would go with a Josh Allen. I would say that's your best bet, considering if you're betting on what the Browns are going to do in the offseason, and not get a vet based off of history. But with this new front office, which I think is fantastic. I love Dorsey.
I really like not just Dorsey, but the guys he's brought in. He's bringing in guys he's already worked with, and he knows he can work with.
And they're younger. They're younger guys.
Exactly.
They're not aged. It's not a Mike Holmgren. Right. It's really nice to see that this youth movement in the front office and not on the field. Mm-hmm. That's what I like to see. And Dorsey's a proven GM. And also the offense again. Todd Haley. This is going to be an interesting year for football in Cleveland.
I think so.
I'm not saying playoffs, but I'm saying we could hit that 7-win mark. We could hit that 6-win mark if we get the right players.
Right.
With the right coaching, the players are fine. And this is going to be the year to decide Hugh Jackson's career in Cleveland. And I would say this. I was listening to, was it Colin Cowherd?
Yeah.
On Fox?
I don't know
radio?
If he's on Fox, but I know he's on the radio. So.
I think he's on Fox. And he was talking about why coaches like a John Gruden, like a Jay Gruden, like Josh McDaniels, like Mike Vrabel, like all these guys, that have been available and have turned down the Browns' head coaching positions in the past. His thoughts on it were the fact of there's no guarantee. You may sign a 3-year deal, but you may only stay 6 months in Cleveland. There's no guarantee that you're going to be the coach of the Browns after 2 seasons. There's no guarantee. No matter what your contract says, there's no guarantee in Cleveland because Cleveland does not have a history of keeping coaches.
Right.
And the fact is you don't, as a coach, you got to think of it from a coaching perspective. If I sign with this team, a 3-year deal, $14 million, we'll say, okay? Mm-hmm. I have to move my kids and my wife to a new house, settle down in Cleveland or somewhere near Cleveland, put my kids in school, okay? They're just coming out of an old school going to this new school now. If I'm gone in 6 months, we got to do that again.
Right.
I got to spend more money on a new house. I have to move again. I have to do all of this over again. Why would you sign with the team? Why would anybody do that? He's like, the Browns keeping Hugh Jackson is good because it shows stability. Right. It shows organizational stability within the Browns organization. Mm-hmm. And I think that is huge in the sense of, if Hugh Jackson doesn't work out this year, we can go out and get, a Lovie Smith. We can go out and get John Fox. We could get, is that my phone?
No, that's my Facebook, I think. My phone's back there.
I was going to say, geez, what the hell?
Really
what happened? Oh, my goodness. So there's that. Moving on to the NBA, there's a huge problem right here in the land. The Cavaliers are just stumbling day after day. It's looking like we're going to have to make a trade. Start with Nick. Nick, what do you think is the best bet by February 8th? The trade deadline is the 8th. That Brooklyn pick is there. DeAndre Jordan, Marc Gasol, Anthony Davis, George Hill, Lou Williams. We're hearing all these names.
I think the best move they could make, this is just my opinion, so feel free to disagree, is DeAndre Jordan.
Okay.
You need a big guy in the middle. As much as I loved Kevin Love being at center just because of how good of an offensive player he is in the post, it's not... This whole team defensively is not good, and DeAndre could really help that aspect. Put him at center, move Kevin Love back to the 4.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think. I've heard it talk about a George Hill trade.
It's almost done.
Almost done?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard via 2 days ago. And so I wasn't
Are we still
happy
throwing
about that.
Channing in there? Because I would hate to lose Channing.
I don't care who we lose, personally. I think it's all about keeping LeBron, and I'm all in on that.
I'm
all in.
Channing. The Cavs have played very well when we actually play Channing Frye. So
Where are we at here?
he kind of seems to be a good guy off the bench, besides like Wade. So I think if they do start, there's the whole IT. The whole IT just complicates everything because it seems like he's not really gelling, in my opinion.
I think in a way the media, that's blowing things out of proportion, all that, too. So, then here and there, probably just things, whatever, things just, whoever leaking whatever, just to cause issues and all kinds of stuff. So, there's probably is some issues, but you go and figure it out.
See, this is a trade I would do in a minute and add the Brooklyn pick. Kevin Love, Derrick Rose for Anthony Davis, and the Brooklyn pick, and our first-round pick this year. I say, but if we have a chance to get Anthony Davis, that's a proven guy. He's, how old is he? He's got to be about 25, maybe?
Going to be.
He is, it's his 5th year in the league. 24. He's 24 years old. That's better than any rookie you're going to get for the next 5 years. So I believe that you spend the Brooklyn pick. This is the only guy that I think is worth giving up that Brooklyn pick. It's the only guy out there on the block. Maybe a Marc Gasol, but he's old. I want a guy that's proven. I want a guy that can stay here if LeBron leaves. I want a guy that's going to make this, I think there's many ways to go about this personally. I believe that you could trade IT. You could trade Kevin Love.
I would trade IT. I don't trade Love.
I would trade Love in a minute.
I would.
Because Kevin Love is not the Minnesota Love. He is the listen to LeBron and think later. And I think that's okay. But when you don't have the capability of a...
I think he's had to be, though.
Well, yes, he has. But I think...
Well, that's how
the Minnesota Love was wrong from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, you think he comes into a new team.
Kevin Love...
The whole thing needs to learn all over again.
Neither LeBron... Well, LeBron definitely didn't have to change his game. Kyrie had to tweak his game, but Kevin Love had to be put in a totally... be used in a totally new way.
And figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out pretty much.
I agree, but I think the fact of...
He had to change his game so much, but I think even though he's not the Minnesota Kevin Love, he's still one of the best power forwards in the league, in my opinion.
No, I don't agree with that.
He's still up
personally, he's up there. He's top 10, but I believe that... I mean,
it doesn't matter if it's top 10. That's still the upper case.
We need a super team in Cleveland. We need a Warriors mindset in Cleveland. That's how you beat the Warriors, is by beating them at what they do best, and that is bringing the best together and doing something dominant. Think about where the Warriors are the weakest. Center, power forward, okay? They have the first 3 positions filled out, as do we. Isaiah Thomas. We just need a shooting guard.
I'm not sold on Isaiah.
I'm not sold on him either, but I think we have so many trade pieces right now. You could trade Tristan Thompson.
I would trade Tristan in a heartbeat.
And
I can't stand Tristan.
I can't stand Tristan with this Kardashian thing and just get out of here. I think you could trade Thompson for like a Tyreek Evans. Evans is having a career year. A Lou Williams. You could end up really, because we have 2 first-round picks this year in the draft. We have our own and we have the Brooklyn pick. And I think if you package those together with Kevin Love, Derrick Rose, maybe throw in an Ante Zizic, you can get Anthony Davis. And you can really fire up this city. You have LeBron, Anthony Davis, you have Isaiah Thomas going into the finals. That is exactly on the same playing field as the Golden State Warriors. Isaiah. For who? Don't say Kemba, because everyone's saying Kemba Walker, and I'm saying that breaks the chemistry that the Cavs have right now.
What chemistry?
It's not that. It's the fact that we have, 4 months till the playoffs? The Cavs aren't going to... LeBron's not going to learn Kemba Walker's game in 4 months. That takes a season until you go to the playoffs and LeBron flips the switch and everything connects.
You can ask Jeremiah from when we had our show last semester. I kept saying that I would not start Isaiah Thomas when he came back. I kept saying bring him off the bench.
Which they sort of did.
I meant like permanent. Keep him with the second unit.
No, I don't agree with that. I say we should have kept Kyrie from the start and put him on the bench. I wouldn't have started him.
The thing is, at some point in time, he's going to establish probably being a better point guard, so you would have to let him in that. You can go the whole season and not letting him be a starter at some point in time. I don't see that.
I think they should have kept him with the second unit because the first unit, what they had before was working really well, and then you had Wade leading the second unit. You put IT out there with the second unit, that gives him a second dominant option.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I still didn't.
See, I see this trade being good. Add our first round pick and 2 seconds. It's DeAndre Jordan for Tristan Fry and Calderon. And you throw in our first round this year, not the Brooklyn pick. Throw in our first round this year and 2 second-round picks over the next 2 seasons.
I wouldn't give it to
the Clippers.
I'll give them a first. You're giving them at least one tangible good asset, then not putting...
Well, the Clippers are going back into rebuilding mode. I mean, with CP3 gone, Redick gone, you have DeAndre Jordan that wants to leave. You have Blake Griffin, the only guy they can build around, and he's going to get up there in age within the next 5 years. So they need youth, and Tristan Thompson is a youth movement. Fry is an expiring contract they can get rid of. Calderon is an expiring contract that they can go out and maybe sign some young free agents. I mean, I personally think that this trade benefits both teams. And DeAndre Jordan is that, that monster in the... Not monster, but he's that... He's a force in the middle to be reckoned with. And that's what I think is what we're missing in Cleveland is a center. That's the main thing, is a guy that traditionally plays the center position. Because you think about it, LeBron and... that's pretty much it. That's the only guy that plays defense on our team. The fact is that LeBron having to guard KD when KD goes to the hole... Imagine LeBron gets crossed over, whatever. In every game we've seen this year, KD score. Boom, right to the basket. Curry for 3, got it. If anyone drives to the paint and sees a DeAndre Jordan sitting there, that's a different ball game. Points of the paint are going to be different. We're going to have to force the Washington Wizards, the Warriors, to shoot threes, what they're good at. But we're good at that too. That's what I think separates us as a very good center from the Golden State Warriors. We are a good center away from beating them. But I just think we need to get out of our heads.
With that is not only the ego, they need more practice too.
It's not that. It's the fact that they just don't gel. They're not gelling because of Isaiah Thomas. Not because of him personally, what he's doing, but the fact that his game, it's showing that he's more ball dominant than Kyrie. I've seen that in this season. We thought Kyrie was... score first mentality. He is. But now that Kyrie's on his own, he's doing okay in Boston. Mm-hmm. They won last night. I just think that Thomas is, more of a ball-dominant point guard than Kyrie Irving. And that's when you have 2 ball-dominant, you have the king, and you have the, little Isaiah Thomas, not much taller than me. I think that's That's a problem when you have two guys that do the exact same thing on the court at the exact same time. I do agree with your point on bringing him off the bench. I think we should have started doing that. The games that we had him play, right off the bat, we should have kept him out till February. Have him come back on the day when we're back in Boston, February 2nd or something like that. We got a week until we're back in Boston. Have him start that day. But I think right now what we need to do is we have the nursing home on the Cavs right now. I mean, it's the nursing home.
Not necessarily.
Everybody's old. I mean, we have a lot of trade assets, expiring contracts that we can get rid of. I say, number 1, you trade Iman Shumpert. Number 2, you trade J.R. Smith. Number 3, you trade Tristan Thompson. Number 4, you trade Channing Frye. You get rid of everyone who's old and has not contributed this season. That's Tristan Thompson. That's Channing Frye. You can argue that he needed more playing time, but he just doesn't fit our scheme anymore. Our scheme is getting smaller. Our scheme is moving faster, and that's what.
And you can pin that on Lou. The fact he does not use the rotations correctly is
I don't
on
pin
Lou.
anything on Lou. LeBron is our coach. LeBron is our coach.
Well, Lou needs to stop worrying about being buddy with everyone and be an actual coach. Then
you can't.
Either that
You
or
can't
get out of town.
You can't coach the coach. I mean, you can't coach the king. The king rules over the league. I'm sorry, but any team that LeBron goes to, you saw that in Miami. Miami had that similar thing with Pat Riley, and after year 1, they lost in the finals. Year 2, they knew LeBron's got to be the leader if we want to win. And immediately that happened, and they won 2 straight championships. I'm saying that LeBron James, you don't coach the LeBron Cavaliers. There's no coach for the LeBron Lynn Cavaliers.
I'm going to disagree again with you, because personally I think Lou needs to go.
I don't think Lou needs to go.
I think he does.
I think the perfect thing was getting rid of Blatt. I think having Lou is a guy that LeBron trusts to listen to him. LeBron trusts that Ty Lue will take his advice, and Ty Lue...
He trusts Lou because he knows Lou will bend over backwards to do whatever he wants.
Exactly, and that's what I want. That's what LeBron needs.
That's not what LeBron
LeBron
needs.
is not in the point of his career where he needs to listen. He has done everything in his power as a player his whole career to be a Hall of Famer. Do you tell Michael Jordan how to play basketball if you're a rookie in the NBA? No. Michael Jordan may not be in the league anymore, but he knows a hell of a lot more than you.
But the thing is, it goes to this of, you have LeBron, you got Lou. Both of them have their experience, than whole head coaching.
Allen Iverson
the only
jumping
thing
over
is,
Lou in the
him being a
finals.
leader, somewhat the coach on the floor, a little behind the scenes, and telling Lou this, that, it goes vice versa. If you're a coach on the floor, just like a, QB in that, it's like Peyton Manning, he's a coach out on the field in that. Here and there, you got whoever the offensive coordinator and that every once in a while saying, hey, you should maybe do this and that. You let them, do their thing and that, but to the point of, you got to have that thing of give and take, then not listen to the person that, because it's different of being on the floor seeing things than you have the coach and that. You got to be able to be open amongst one another. Just like Peyton Manning. Here and there, if you really went and asked him, he probably said here and there, yeah, I was going to call this play and that, but then, that I heard, in my helmet that, hey, you should run this and that. Then, I sat there for a brief second. Oh, that's a good idea, and did it. And, it's probably things like that happen.
Yeah.
Let's face that. We'll never know unless you go and find Peyton Manning and say, hey, besides being coach on the field, every once in a while, you were about to call the play, then you scratched it because, your offensive coordinator got in your ear, and you thought, oh, yeah, that's a better idea.
I mean, I'd rather have LeBron James coaching my team than Tyronn Lue. I'd rather have LeBron James coaching my team than Mike D'Antoni. I'd rather have LeBron James coaching my team than Steve Kerr. I'd rather have LeBron James coaching my team than any coach in the NBA right now. I think if we're going to fire Ty Lue, which would be a huge mistake. I think if we fire him, you go out and you get David Fizdale. You go out and get Fizdale, a guy that LeBron trusts, a guy that LeBron has coached with, a guy that has coached LeBron in Miami. But the one thing I think we're past. Here was my thought, and I feel that Cleveland would agree with me on this. All Cleveland fans. Let's go back a couple years when LeBron first came back. Okay, the one thing that I didn't want to see was Miami in a Cleveland uniform. You know what I mean? I didn't want to see Dwayne Wade. I didn't want to see Chris Bosh. I didn't want to see anybody from Miami because Miami was a stab in the heart by LeBron. He fixed that. He came back. But I didn't want to see him bring the soldiers that stabbed us in the heart to just be, goats in a sheep's clothing.
Well, that's in a way taking it a little too personal.
Well, that's the point. But the city is worth more. The reason that I say that is because as fans, we don't pride ourselves on the beach. We don't pride ourselves on the tall buildings with, we don't pride ourselves on, the most attractive fan base. We don't pride ourselves on, we're not LA, we're not Miami, we're not New York. We're Cleveland, hardworking, industrial. You work, like LeBron said, you work for what you earn. You work for what you have. You earn everything. This is not a city that you sit there and get handed stuff. You have to earn everything. And that's what I think the thing is when LeBron was here the first time, we had our hero. We had our guy. The hero wanted better. He wanted the lifestyle of a king, and he got that. He came back to bring his experience back here. He won us a championship, but now I think it's time for the king to rule his castle, and that's what Cleveland is for LeBron. It's his castle. Let him run it as he chooses. He knows more about championships than we do. It took him for Cleveland to win a championship, and let's trust him and what he's done. He brings us to the playoffs every year, no matter who's on the squad. Well, it's going to happen again this year. We're going to go to the finals, and we're going to play Golden State.
The other thing is,
we know how this goes.
At all, the issues and that. Even 2 years ago, how many issues did we hear that in the media? Whoever, GR, all this different fighting in that. Then what ended up happening at the end of it? They put it, they fire Blatt, all that stuff. What happened? Won a championship. And, LeBron said it best in that after a post game in that of, I don't know why we had to take the hard road, and that.
I have a random question for you, Bossman, about your people you want to trade.
Yeah.
You say you want to trade both Tristan and Channing, correct?
Yeah.
Who's going to be your backup center then if you trade both?
If you trade both, you go small off the bench, depending on who you're playing. It's all a matter of who you're playing. I mean, I think we need to keep doing the prepare for Golden State because that's eventually who we're going to play. I mean, LeBron is a different monster in the playoffs. So I would say who's not your backup center. That doesn't matter. Your backup center would probably be Kevin Love. But I think if you want to go small, so you need to design plays to score. Defense is not the strength of this team. It can be in a starting five, but it's not going to be off the bench. I think you go out. There's plenty of guys to sign in free agency. There's Ante Zizic, who's a young and up-and-coming player. That's where you get your youth movement from. There's a mixture of what we can have in 5 years on this team and what we can have in the next 3 months. I think the fact is that there's 2 routes to go. All in on LeBron or all in on the future. You either let LeBron walk this offseason, keep all your picks, go young, trade expiring deals, trade these old contracts, these guys that aren't going to be all-stars in the next 2-3 years, get them off the team. Anybody that has, been slow, anybody that isn't dominant, anyone that's not strong enough to play their position. I don't care if they can shoot threes. I care about the overall player. We don't have a Curry. We don't have a Klay Thompson. Let's draft someone that could be. Let's draft a Trae Young. Let's draft a Luka Doncic. Let's draft a Michael Porter Jr. Let's get somebody on this team. I would take Marvin Bagley. I would take these guys, these higher-rated rookies. that really could develop this team over the next few years. Personally, I don't think no matter what we do, LeBron's going to leave. I don't think he's going to leave. LeBron is not leaving this team. You ask me that now, yes, I will say he's not leaving. You ask me if we lose to the Warriors, if we get swept by the Warriors this year, adios amigos. He's gone. But it'll show. You'll see in the summer who LeBron really is. If he cares more about Cleveland or his legacy, you'll see who he really is this offseason. I would say it doesn't matter who your backup center is. What matters is can you score more than the other team? Because I don't care if we lose the point. If we lose, 40 to 25 and in the paint points, sure, that's fine. As long as you win the game 114 to 113. As long as you win the game 107 to 106.
In your opinion, what's the best way to beat Golden State?
Beat them at what they're best at.
Threes?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
But you don't trade. But you do trade. You get younger. You do it with. What do they do? What do they have on their? What don't the Warriors have on their team?
Big men.
Exactly. Beat them where they're the weakest and beat them where they're the strongest. You beat them at both because they can only beat you two ways. They can beat you through Durant or they can beat you through the Splash Brothers. We can beat them through many different ways. We just need to get those players on our team that can do that.
Now, this is just me.
And I'll tell you, George Hill's not going to do that.
I agree. I don't think George Hill will do that because I don't think he's been really playing that
well. He's a
year.
better backup than Derrick Rose, but if that's the way
Derrick
you want to
Rose
look,
needs to go
if that's
too.
the way our front office is looking at it, then sure, he's an expiring contract. He only signed a 1-year deal with Sacramento, so I could see that being a thing. I'd rather have J.J. Redick. He's a 1-year, $23 million man. Bring him on the team. He's a three-point threat anywhere on the floor. That's what I would do. I mean, George Hill can shoot threes. We do need a backup point guard, but I would say, dude, J.J. Redick's one of your... If you're going for that expiring deal in the offseason, J.J. Redick is the best guy on the market. Hands down.
Now I'm going to tell you why I'm against for trading Channing. If we can get DeAndre Jordan without giving up Channing Frye,
Not
I do
gonna
it in a
happen.
heartbeat.
It's not
I'm
going to
just going
happen.
to explain to you why. You might disagree with it, but I'm going to explain to you why. You said the way you beat Golden State is through their own game by beating threes. Who's your best three-point shooter?
Probably, I would say Isaiah Thomas. I would say
Korver.
Korver is definitely up there, but when Korver's been streaky now that he's older, I would say Korver.
I think part of the reason why Korver's been struggling lately is because when he's out there with the reduced rotations, all the attention is on him. If you keep Channing Frye,
That's true.
you have a guy who can play both inside and who can hit threes.
Channing
from the
Frye
outside.
doesn't have an inside game.
Okay, well, he's got a mid-range game.
He doesn't.
so he's got a
he
mid-range
doesn't. But he
game.
doesn't use it. He
Well,
uses.
it doesn't matter. He's sort of a decoy.
But he's not. Nobody.
And every once in a while,
there's
you
no-
gotta pay a decoy.
Hang on.
But there is no
Hang on.
NBA team that fears Channing Frye. When you play the Cleveland Cavaliers, you fear LeBron, you fear Kevin Love, you fear Isaiah Thomas.
Just hang on a second. Let me finish here. Please.
Okay.
You have Wade on the second team. Good all-around player. Korver, mostly known for his threes. Wade isn't as good of a three-point shooter. Channing is a guy that pulls attention away from Korver around the perimeter because he can hit the three too. That's one of the reasons I want to keep him, because he can hit the three and he pulls attention away from your best three-point shooter.
Not including he somewhat opens up the lanes on the inside. If you have both of
Yes,
those
he
guys
does.
in the corners and that,
But it
that
allows like
splits
guys
the
like
D.
Wade and Jeff Green to drive the ball.
So,
I
in a way,
I think Jeff Green is a great player. I think Jeff Green is.
I think he's been the unsung hero of this season.
Yeah, he's the best bench player you have. Wade is second, I would say, but Wade needs to stop shooting and more driving to the basket. He needs to stop shooting the ball. He can't shoot anymore. His shoulder, his knees are not up for that.
That's true.
And he can't play defense at all. But he's a good overall player. He's good. I mean, in 2K, he probably has like a 77 rating, but he's okay. Expiring deal.
well,
fine.
2K doesn't matter that much.
2K matters. Okay, this is all
No, it
2K
doesn't. It's
mindset.
all fake.
All right.
Oh my god.
No, but
It's almost as fake as Twitter.
yeah, probably, or Jeremiah's social life.
Just like you
Just
having
kidding.
a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's also a vanished reality.
Who wants a girlfriend? In all seriously, I'm fine being single.
Okay, we another debate for another day. So anyway, but no, I would say the fact is that the guys that I would keep on the team, if I'm just trading guys, say I'm cutting players, I'm cutting Tristan, I'm cutting JR, I'm cutting Iman Shumpert, okay, and I'm cutting Channing Frye, because Channing Frye's deal is
all
terrible.
Those names except for Channing. I just can't agree with you on Channing. He's played well. You want guys who play well, and you want to ship off Channing. I just don't understand.
Well, the huge thing is he always has this longer argument against Channing, and that doesn't let you completely speak of.
Let's look at his contract right now, shall we?
From the outside looking in.
$7 million to ride the bench. Come on, man.
Well, maybe if Lou would actually play him, he would be worth that $7 million.
Well, we can't
He's not
about that.
He's worth $2 million at
Can I
best.
s-
Please.
Bossman, you can't say much. Remember Bo?
Dwayne Bowe on the Browns.
Yeah.
Well, that was worse than this. That was like
Not including the past 2-3 years we've been playing Josh Gordon that hasn't even touched the NFL field and that. You can't say, hey, at least he contributes every once in a while. He might not play a game in it. At least he's contributing. Then
I
you
don't
have
ha- I don't-
this.
we don't have the Mike
4
Pettin mindset here at Lake Effect
What,
Radio.
poor $4.5 million for like 2 catches?
He earned $1 million per catch that season.
He only had what?
He had
3?
4 catches, and he made a total of like $4 or $5 million.
No,
Like-
his contract per year was like 8 whatever.
Or yeah,
and
he had
that-
a 3-year deal of like 20-some mil. He made like
8
$8 mil per catch
something.
or something. It was ridiculous. But this isn't that. I think Channing.
No, that's
last
how you're
year-
pointing
But no,
ride
what I'm
bench.
saying is he's old, and I'm saying get these guys off the team.
No.
Get rid
Let's
of
go back
old.
to your statement of he's riding the bench. He's not
Yeah.
riding the bench because he actually contributes. Riding the bench is making 4 catches and pretty much and what he only probably played like 2-3 games maybe.
The difference between the two, Bo played and was terrible.
Oh yeah. The only
When
thing
Fry
is
plays, he's good, but the thing is the coach doesn't want to play him because he goes like an 8-9 man rotation.
well, the huge thing, I just go he played like 2-3. Now that's riding the bench. At least him, he'll probably out of 82 games probably see the floor 50 whatever 60 something whatever times. I will take that, and I will not say that's riding the bench over that other situation.
Okay, I would say he's played in 37 games this year, 11.4 minutes, 4.1 points per game, 2.1 rebounds per game, 0.2 blocks per game. Let's see 3-point percentage total. 3-point percentage, 35%. 35%. Bye.
You're going
No.
just
Goodbye.
by stats.
Not
His value is
horrible.
more
Stats
important-
don't lie.
His
Stats
value is more
don't
important
lie.
than just the stats. Like I said,
Look at the whole
spacing.
team. Look at the whole team. If you're going to judge by stats and that, who's the worst? Guarantee it's probably on the Cavs right now. If you pulled up the whole team for the 3 points, percentage in that, you'll find somebody worse than that.
35%.
I would be willing to bet that. 100% sure there.
I said his value isn't just in the stats. He helps with spacing. He draws attention
Because
away
he
from
wants to
other
go
guys.
and sort of drive the thing of he's sort of the worst in that at it. Let's go and actually see this. The whole team stats. Guarantee someone's worse than Corver. Or, Fry,
Fry.
whatever. You can go say he's the worst.
3-point percentage. Shooting stats. 3-point percentage.
So who's the worst?
Shumpert, but he played in 1 game. Or like 2 games.
Shumpert's been garbage for years.
It doesn't matter. There you go.
Derrick Rose, he just came back. Isaiah
Should've
Thomas.
shipped him off a while ago.
But still, 1 point, or was it .16 whatever in that?
Yeah.
There you go. See, told ya.
Well, our show has come to an end here on Lake Effect Radio. Thank you all for listening to Beyond Question. I promise that Tom Butler will be back in Lakeland next week at some point for my show.
And
Maybe
Tom Brady is softer than Cristiano Ronaldo.
That is not Beyond
That's
Question.
Beyond
Have a
Question.
good day, everybody.